The regulatory system needs to make it much more straightforward for community energy groups to get up and operate, but then also to benefit from being able to sell their electricity locally and all of these things.
On the 28th of January, the Energy Minister, Michael Shanks, appeared before the Energy Security and Net Zero Committee of MPs as part of the Unlocking Community Energy at Scale inquiry. In response to questions from Melanie On and Vera Hobhouse, the Minister spoke with enthusiasm about enabling people to buy their power from local community-run energy projects.
And in a response to a colleague in Parliament in July, you said he is right to make the point about delivering clean power that benefits local community so that they can buy it locally and really see the benefits of hosting it. So it's the two sides of it. It's that you can host it, and it's a local thing, but you can also sell it to a wider group of people who benefit from the fact that because it doesn't go further than the local distribution network, it will be cheaper and so on and so forth. Could you please make a comment on that one?
And I think we want to explore this further around how we can support local energy networks so that there are communities directly benefiting from the electricity, so genuinely selling the electricity locally. That is more complex because you obviously then need to consider the backup that is available should the local generation not fully meet the demand. But I think we're open to all of these ideas.
On the 10th of February, the government's new local power plan was debated in the House of Commons. The Energy Secretary of State, Ed Miliband, replied to questions from Pippa Heylings and John Whitby on the local buying and selling of community energy.
On the crucial issue of empowerment, local empowerment, regulation is needed, and organisations like Power for People constantly, regularly told us that there are barriers to access, as the Secretary of State said, to fair local markets. They've welcomed this plan too, echoing the promise made by the Minister here that the government will establish local energy supply models. The local power plan, I've looked through it very quickly, in the final place talks about the regulatory changes necessary, but when will those come through?
On the point about Ofgem and some of the regulatory changes, absolutely we're going to work as quickly as we can to unblock some of the barriers and make sure that this can happen as swiftly as possible.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I've spoken to groups across my constituency such as Transition Crich and Derbyshire Dales Community Energy who are working to create new community energy owned energy projects in order to cut bills and drive down emissions, and the 1 billion announced today will significantly help with their aims. However, these groups will grow faster if they're able to sell their energy directly to households in their communities. So could the Minister therefore please update us on what plans he has to implement local supply rights for community energy schemes?
We're right into the nerdery here, and it's really important nerdery, Madam Deputy Speaker. My honourable friend makes such an essential point about the ability for this power to be sold back into the grid. I would assure him this is something that we are working on with Ofgem to improve the offer to local community groups, because this is an essential part of ensuring that economic value goes to the groups, including in his constituency.
On the 11th of February, the local power plan was debated in the House of Lords. The Energy Minister, Lord Whitehead, responded to a question from Earl Russell on the enablement of local energy markets.
Government themselves acknowledge that a lack of fair routes to market has held back community energy for too long. Without a genuine right to local supply underpinned by statute, community groups will remain disadvantaged. Can the Minister also confirm that legislation to create a clear right to local supply remains part of the Government's programme?
I can give him an assurance that we have thought about most of the things that he has raised this evening and indeed see those as an essential part of the move forward of the local power plan so that the communities can, for example, start to trade in local energy, that they can have security and resilience.